Slack Alice, Village Bike and Dizzy Blonde are just some of the very colourful names for beer, but are they appropriate names in this Me Too world?
Yeah, the Campaign for Real Ale organises hundreds of beer festivals every year, but they've put a ban on beers and ciders that are sexist or discriminatory against women.
Well, to debate this, joining us now is beer writer Melissa Cole, alongside reality star Nicola McLean. And I know you both have strong feelings about this. So the thing is, Melissa, is that when I was looking at some of the names, and those three were the most comfortable to read out, I thought, I can't say that on air.
Yeah.
That's offensive. And you think to yourself...
Can I just illustrate...
Adults ready to be offensive?
No, but I just want to illustrate this point, because I just want to say we've just come up with three. I mean, it is pretty widespread. We've done a lot of research, and this is just beers. We're not even going into cocktails, but there's one called Bristols Ale, and it shows, you know, the imagery shows a woman's nipples. There are, you know, this is quite big stuff. The Opportunist, as a label showing a woman, yet another buxom blonde dressed in a short, revealing dress. There's Slack Alice cider, in brackets, a little tart. New balls, please.
The image on that,
yeah, that one was
pretty
particularly shocking, actually. The image on that was a woman lying on a tennis court, all her clothes askew, looking like she'd just been the victim of a sexual assault. So this isn't just a little bit about, saucy postcard kind of stuff. This is genuinely off-putting, and it's not about... A lot of people say, oh, you know, this is about offence and things like that. It's not, actually. It's about the fact that what we need to do is we need to appeal to a new market. We need to make sure that we're welcoming for everybody. And it's really... What should be really clear about this is actually it's not just about sexist branding. It's actually about discriminatory branding, full stop. So it's making sure that members of the LGBTQ+ community are welcome, people of colour are welcome, because actually all of these things, women and those two other groups, they're very, very underrepresented in the beer world.
It is a point, isn't it, that if you're feeling hesitant about saying something on air because you're worried it might be offensive, it's a bit of a worry that it's there as part of marketing for alcohol.
I just think that we're just constantly looking for things to be offended by. I really do. I feel like it wouldn't stop me walking into a pub. I wouldn't drink the ale in the first place, but if I was going to order it for someone, I'd have absolutely no problem. I wouldn't feel discriminated against.
I mean, the same applies to cocktails, doesn't it? A lot of young people will be going out drinking cocktails today, you know, sex on the beach, have nipple in the titles or whatever. I mean, are you saying that that's just fine?
I think it's absolutely fine. I have no problem. I would have no problem. You know, it's actually quite offensive to think that a woman would feel embarrassed to go and order one of those cocktails because it's got some sort of sexual nature in it. You know, I'm a grown big woman that can go up to a bar and order whatever I want. I wouldn't feel offended by it. I don't think you can move...
As I said, it's 67% of women who took part in this survey, and these surveys have been growing in size year on year on year. So it's not... Again, it's not about offence. It's about actually making sure that beer, which is the nation's drink, it's our most popular alcoholic drink. We make cask ales, which is something nowhere else in the world does, and they tend to be the worst offenders, the older school ones. It's actually... We should be really proud of our national drink, and the very fact that we can't even say or talk about some of the names on air.
I think
if they were crisps,
there's lots of wines that could be offensive to men. There's wines that have, you know, titles that I would say on air, but I wouldn't be invited back, so I won't. So, you know, and are we going to say that men don't want to drink wine now? You know, should we change?
But if you look you know, the last year, if we've learned anything, you know, most important, you know, the Me Too movement, which, you know, no one can deny has been a fantastic movement for women and for you know, and for minorities all around, really. Absolutely. It's made us think, and yet, why is this still acceptable then?
I don't think...
No, we're talking about one of the things was over-sexualisation of women.
But can we really bring beers into the Me Too movement?
Absolutely we can, because if you've got a label... No, it's not. You've got a label like that. Yeah, I understand that you have worked behind a bar, and we are clearly two women who can handle ourselves.
Yeah.
But if you are a young woman who is just walking into the leisure and hospitality industry for the first time, you are serving something like this, you have no buying power, you have no say over it, you need the money, and you get some guy walking up to you and turning a pump clip round, as happened to me when I was younger, and saying, "All right, darling, did you pose for that? Because there's a blonde, busty woman on it," and then they go...
It's kind of giving an official endorsement, isn't it, to that kind of behaviour?
It is.
They're on the pub. On the other hand, you just mentioned if it was crisps, it would never be allowed. But crisps are eaten by youngsters and children. Alcohol is for 18s and overs. And, you know, Nicola's argument is there's got to be somewhere where we can, where people can...
A pub is a place for, you know, fun, banter, to drink alcohol. It's not a place where, you know, it needs to be that serious. And, you know...
So you don't think it should at least be the majority of pubs which are desperately closing their doors shouldn't make it a welcoming family environment as well?
Well, there is pubs that are welcoming family environments, isn't there? You know, and then there's some that you wouldn't take your kids to.
Oh,
I
yes.
like going to the pub. Don't be shocked. I enjoy the pub and I take my kids to the pub. But there's some that, you know, but it is a welcoming environment. I just think, you know, it's just my personal opinion, you know, that I'm asked to do debates all the time about feminist things, and it seems to be people are just going crazy and wanting to do one thing after another. We're just sucking the fun out of everything.
Well,
you know, literally sucking the fun out of life.
It's incredibly difficult to suck the fun out of the alcohol industry, believe me, but it's actually,
trying.
it really is, honestly. I've been trying for 20 years, I would have succeeded by now if I'd really wanted to, but it's not. It's not about sucking the fun out of it. It's actually making it a nice environment for everybody, and that includes people from the LGBTQ+ community and people of colour. It's about making sure that everyone is welcome.
Has anyone ever tried a different tactic in marketing, making it less about, you know, sort of this kind of, at the very least, saucy seaside postcard kind of humour? Has anybody ever tried anything else? And has it worked?
Honestly, it's amazing. You look at all of the newer generation of breweries that have opened, and so there's a big beer festival this weekend called London Craft Beer Festival, and it is going to be packed with amazing, beautiful branding that you actually... people.
So why
genuinely buy
haven't I
prints.
heard of those things and I've heard of Slack Alice?
Well, that's depressing. I'm clearly not doing my job as a beer writer very well. But it's, the problem is that things that hit the headlines aren't always the positive things. The positive things is that, you know, the Great British Beer Festival has taken this step. It's about making the whole environment more welcoming. It's not about offence. It's not about the fact that you can't still tell jokes in the pub. It's not about the fact that you can't go meet and flirt with people, run away into the night. It's not about that. What it is about is it's just about making sure there's a level playing field. It is no longer just the bastion of men, that everybody should be able to go into this. And our pub and brewing industry needs it. We provide a huge amount to the economy, and we need to stop pubs closing.
Ladies, thanks so much for joining us. It's been fascinating, Melissa and Nicola. And thank you to Merlin, our resident cocktail man.
He's pouring very inoffensive but delicious, I'm sure, drinks.
for much later in the day for you.
For much later in the day. Well said, the boss is watching.
And if you recognise Merlin, of course, from First Dates, the barman in First Dates.
Absolutely, absolutely.